Welcome to our channel. Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke's reactions to the GoT finale will break your heart all over again. Game of Thrones actors, they're just like us. Emilia Clarke has spoken out about her emotional reaction to reading the script for the final GoT episodes, including her frustration that co-star Kit Harington chose to wait until the table read to find out how the series ended. Seeing his emotional reaction in real time, however, ultimately outweighed her annoyance. And now, thanks to HBO's documentary Game of Thrones, The Last Watch, we too can watch that reaction in real time. And it's every bit as satisfying as Clarke described. During the table read, the action for Jon and Dany's final scene is read aloud. We see Jon with his hand still on the hilt of the dagger, just lodged in Dany's heart. Someone reads off-screen. Harington is staring in disbelief at the page, covering his mouth in shock as he hears lodged in Dany's heart. He looks across the table to Clarke for confirmation, who nods, then jokingly slides down in her chair with a grimace. The Last Watch is essentially required viewing for any true GOT fan, both for the insight it provides into production and the confirmation it provides of how deeply invested the cast and crew were in this series. Harington's table read is far from the only time he's moved to tears. His final day of production saw him highly emotional as well, with Harington telling Esquire it felt like being skinned when they took off his costume for the final time. There was something about the costume being taken off me that was like, oh, I don't get to be him anymore. And I love him. I loved being him. It's clear from The Last Watch that most of the GOT crew had a similar level of attachment to their time working on the series. And no matter your feelings on the final season, the passion and dedication of the crew is well worth celebrating. Game of Thrones author criticizes controversial Daenerys and Khal Drogo Season 1 scene. Game of Thrones fans had a lot to say about the fantasy series' final season last year, and it's safe to say that not all of their takes were positive. Turns out, though, author George R.R. Martin wasn't keen on something the show did much earlier on, as he pointed to a scene between Emilia Clarke's Daenerys and Jason Momoa's Khal Drogo in the show's pilot. In James Hibbard's new companion book Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon, Martin explained that he's still not happy with changes that were made to Daenerys and Khal Drogo's wedding night. In Martin's book series, the two characters ultimately consummate their marriage consensually, despite the fact that the 13 to 14-year-old Daenerys was forced into marrying the older Dothraki warrior. The show's unaired pilot, which saw Tamsin Merchant in the role of Daenerys, followed the original material much more closely. But when the role was recast and Clarke was brought in, the scene was reshot. In the aired pilot Winter is Coming, Khal forced himself upon his new bride, with Daenerys seen to be visibly upset following their wedding night. Speaking about the change in Hibbard's Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon, Martin questioned via Metro. Why did the wedding scene change from the consensual seduction scene that excited even a horse to the brutal rape of Emilia Clarke? We never discussed it. In the book, showrunner D.B. Weiss responded to Martin's comments, saying, in the second episode, Daenerys has to go back to the less consensual, rougher relationship. In the book that works, but we just didn't have that amount of time and access to the character's mind. It turns too quickly. It was something the actors themselves felt wasn't gelling. They weren't able to find an emotional handhold. Hibbard's Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon provides an oral history of the making of the HBO show, featuring interviews with everyone from author Martin and showrunners Weiss and David Benioff to show stars Kit Harington, Emilia Clarke, Peter Dinklage, Sophie Turner, Maisie Williams, and more. The book is also set to provide an insight into the show's divisive final season, while also exploring the future of the franchise, including the upcoming spin-off series House of the Dragon.